Welcome to Dungeon Commercial. Hang on, I'll tell you what this is in a minute. Hang on.
Is that a dentist appointment we see? Dungeon Master, come in. Come in, speak through my phone at this funny production. Oh, wasn't it bliss that we watched the commercials of another one? We've got good timing on this. It looks like we're paying for everything. Go Gadget Go, let's buy a car. Go Gadget Go, let's buy a boat. And these guys are really selling it well. Welcome to Dungeon Master, where we could not speak of what lies ahead unless you crossed your memory with what you had instead of this particular dungeon. We have to remain on this title screen, not just because it's a copyright post that we're getting permission from YouTube to write, but that it's translating in such beautiful color and shade design that we could watch these kind of menus forever. But now we get started on Dungeon Master 100. That's Dungeon Master 100. Dungeon Master 100. There are 12 Dungeon Masters after this, leading to 112 in the Gygaxian rule of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, not to exceed 112 of the same Dungeon Master ploys. Well, the situation will get icy except for the great Dungeon Masters that will go on to create 200 dungeons or more. Even the designers of Skyrim have done such. But now we go freakishly back in time to when Dungeon Master was Dungeon Master. And it took us on every edge of the symposium of brotherhood that we had either leg to stand on with other Dungeon Masters. And here comes the initiative that he's going to have to take to wonder, who should he go after? The girl on the horse? Or take down this evil... Oh. So, while we're at it, I just want to say there was this thing going on at my school last week where there's this student that's really young, and he comes into my school, and his name is Damien. And Damien is one of my students, and I find him young to be studying college work, but you can't start him too young, right? Well, Damien, he says some things in Antichrist speak, I must say. And I'm not trying to turn you all off, so you know what? I'm going to change the subject and just watch this little fairy dance around. And there's fairies dancing around, come on. There's greater things to be cheery about than just drama and situational hijinks. What puts you in the midst of it, and what makes you dwell on your own campaign, and what will be a title to you in your victory over what is gossiped and what is the realist version that goes beyond all measure of anyone cycling a whole knowledge of that measure. For then that would be an obscure fact in a kind of nice texted they'd be inflicted with codes of appendices, flagged with index. Now, if we flag with index all the way around this fairyland of maybe even this position that this whole world is Hyrule, and there's much to do in this village. We must get what we can and save when we will, and it's a good thing we're saving our game here. Dungeon Master offers you a saved game. Would you like to save your game for the first time in Dungeon Master since level 1? There has never been a saved game, but it says in Hitchhiker's Guide to Dungeon Master that you can save wherever you want as long as you hit pause, even when I hit pause like that. I can hit pause and play. But we don't need to discuss how we jam through these images outside of the mirror now. And that this is really getting interesting. And these, of all fairies, are the ones to enchant the world with the hope and desire that in a while they would never have to see the earth inlaid within the treasures be told. This is now more than you could dream of, more than you could know, more than you could fit into time itself. And there's a little bit of a book I'm working on, so anyway. It's like you're always got to have your journals out when you're going for a round like this. And I think we didn't really miss... Oh, that scared me. It was a sudden commercial. We don't mind commercials here. We were joking on the first reel. But that wasn't just because we like commercials, but we know this has to be paid for, and look how crisp and clear that picture is anyway. We could all stare at those images forever. These are images that we need. But this one, however, we must go through back to a thank you from our sponsors. And our sponsors are great to us, and now we're back to YouTube's presentation of the Ocarina of Time. And they're talking about things that I could just, if I could just sink my teeth into that, it would be like a whole different episode. So I don't know what you're gonna do, but I'm gonna go back to the yard and find a chicken coop and fly a chicken out of here. I wanna fly a chicken out of here. Okay, maybe not that, but here's a place I go for a sword. Get your sword, Link. You will need it in battle when you come out for zombie warfare in Hyrule. Not that I had anything to do with it, for I am the governor of your time and your situation and your keen observances to traps and deadly enemies and tests and allies. And we must never fail a test when given, though we failed many in the winter sorrow, the days beyond, which take us to very similar to what we have, a dungeon master that is so close, but yet so far. A dungeon master that has led us through the depths of internet history and days and nights. And that is why Dungeon Master is Wizards of the Coast, IGN, because we game through the game. And we game to the end on Dungeon Master, and that it's a game even if you're playing it for real. Then you still know Dungeon Master's a game. But it's a kind of a cartoon movie too. I don't know how they make these wonderful cartoons they do. Like with a few commercials, I can deal with that. So I've got this real interesting vibe about this level. I think that Link is really going to make out like a true bandit in the long run. I think that he's got it made out. Insert tape B. Going to Audioland. Audioland Initiative. Can we help you? This crossfire is going to be heavy. See, that sounds better like that. Leaving Audioland, going back to Mirrorlamp on the destination of Boxing World. And that was like a commercial too. I apologize. Even I have my commercial standards. But if you want to know why this is glorious and in fame and power and governance, you may come with me to Link's village, and we will search out the things that made us really heavy on the momentum and not really caring so much that we're going to maybe have to air it on Facebook. If we gave up at 106, we'd 107, 108. If we gave up at 110, we'd have our last two with KMSA and the Toe Apocrypha, which are Dungeon Masters, but only found on Facebook, and they're really unfair because it's hard to find them, but they're beautiful movies. So don't put this not only in your beautiful movie canon, put this in your own movie companion, because you're going to need a companion to the Ocarina of Frickin' Time. And he just cut off a stem of a flower to prove that he got a Deku stick. I mean, that's kind of like an Ocarina of Time, because it floats around above him in a circular passage. Well, I'm Link, everyone, and I'm going to go around using my sword on these flowers that bite you. Those are flowers that bite you back there. And they're kind of scary. Oh, great. Hey, Deku Tree. That sounds like something that we're supposed to keep secret. Were we supposed to keep this secret? Full of nightmares. As the servants of evil gain strength? Verily thou hast felt it? The time has come to test thy courage? I have been cursed on. Oh, this is wild. Yes, we'll undertake the task, Dungeon Master. We have shaken our head, yes, in agreement. We are going to partake of the task and enter the Deku Tree. It's too... We need to go to Audio Land. We need to go to Audio Land and adjust the rhythm. No, we can't. It's already resonating through our very core being, and we're already just interrupting it with our blather on about Dungeon Master. Have some respect for the music. Oh, I can't handle how much music I've got to put in this. Waldo Wall. I'm going to have to go back through all the Dungeon Masters and fix them this way. Ha 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 ha. Wow, that's cool. I wish I had something better to do than to play this game so many times. I mean, once I'm finished with it, I go back through it and play it again. And again. And again. And again. And again. And again. Oh, so... It's a simple roll of the dice. Oh, here is the commercial again. We must be very warily interested in the skip button only because we must stay on track with this cartoon mania. Now back to Cartoon Theater. Oh, this was beautiful. Someone else's animation of the video game taking form in different ways is a cartoon each time out. That's my theory. That makes Dungeon Master very animated, doesn't it? But it's someone else playing. I can't tell you how it feels to be at the near super, but that's not the point. The point is that like this episode could go on for 40 minutes and be counted as a feature, or even 50 minutes. They're challenging me like 60 minutes, and I'm like, well, that used to be an easy challenge. I just sit back and loom it in and try and ruminate over things that were on screen that were moving in a hideous way and could have been distorted as levels were twisted, and time in Inferno's arousing its own nature was only constant by its own dilemma, and that which was shaken from its very forces were set benign next to the level of the understanding of the things which the automaton cannot trace but can only feel back to, encouraged of the all-written word. Now, I challenge you after you get all of the amenities that a dungeon has to offer, Link. Think about it, you've opened every treasure chest here and no one really noticed where any of this dungeon is and how to get to it, but this could be what's known as an ancient, yes, it's known as a walkthrough. That means they're playing the optimal route to get through. I just know it's controlled by probably one of my neighbors playing it right now in perfection, but that's what you have to do when you're tested on the live mode. And I can't explain to you how dreary the sound would be if you came to the computer and there was only a few more Dungeon Masters, and that might be a delirious sign of why things never stay on the Tree of Life, or the Tree of Destiny, or the Tree of Spokenness. The philosophy of the very game we're playing to get a cartoon, what it takes to get a cartoon, and you can't fool me. This is video games at the highest order, though they have improved now to the level of last week's Dungeon Master 99, and I fear these are coming out dreadfully long, but this one may float around 45 minutes. The timing's uncertain. It seems we've got a long way to go, so pack it in. I just wonder if this is all going to be okay, because I've seen things like this before, and they've bedraggled me down through a certain atmosphere that I could only release it in certain areas and find the edits I need to make, but that it's not suggesting edits, that it seems to be clean and full of things we have licenses to thanks to YouTube creators and YouTube Masterclass. And if this even ends up on a YouTube Masterclass someday as a kind of joke to lighten things up, it's still a total game that's menacingly intense to play and menacingly intense to go through, and that we have all this time now even left of today. We're just now starting tape C. Hang on, Dungeon Master. I don't think it's these camera angles that really make the cranium effect at home wander through the context of these brilliant, brought to life, colorful images of the dancing tide, of the interplayed resonance of the futuristic battle between man and elf and man. And I hope you know how great it is. Wizards of the Coast will look upon this as one era, one like particular wavelength that we get from this game, and then we're wondering if we should switch ahead, and I'm thinking, what if we played from the beginning as far as we could out? Who's up for that? Oh, I see a hand. Okay, that's what we're doing. Any hands for the other side? No? Okay. We're playing from the beginning and we're not jumping a track. If we jump a track, we'll be way back in the day and have seen too much and know too much, but if we keep it going straight through, then it's kind of like, hey, we've been watching your game since the beginning, and that's pretty freaking cool. Now we've got to buy it and stuff. I don't want to give away too many things towards the end, because those are puzzles you got to solve on your own, man. Sorry, this is the warrior, hero. I'm a hero, I'm a warrior. Yeah, well, The Warriors is a cool movie. It's all those gangs that are teenagers. Watch out for The Warriors coming soon to theaters, man. And it ain't the frickin' AI version either. Come on now. I don't know exactly that I would allow AI to cover this, but AI could cover this, but not this spot on Dungeon Master. Of course, we tried setting up an AI Dungeon Master, and it kept saying that, like, there were policies in the Retribute that were standing next to the things you believed in and the things that were introcuted on the frisbee frame of your bike and rack, which came apart on your soul searching for why that commercial... No, it's a good one. I'm not going to diss on it. It's a good one. Man, they've got a lot of Legend of Zelda commercials. I bet these guys make a fortune. We better hope it's okay with YouTube creators. It looks like it is. We're green-lighted so far. Liberty, we can sell it, we can do it. Oh, we're back at the cartoon. Please, believe me, if I knew there'd be so many commercials, I would have set for even more. They're so pleasant and breaking from the dungeon. 100. Aaron Sheely, and I'm just here to say that the CD's turned up loud on Audioland, and I've got the mirror lamp, and I'm taking up for Dungeon Master. He had to run off real quick, go behind some other level, and find this hidden sword, and he's got to fight all these other battles on the hidden side of this game, and I just had to come on and say, well, you know, we're almost at the halfway point at most, or at least the halfway point, if not saying that the halfway point's coming in a few minutes, because we still got more for you here on the, this isn't a podcast, but we can't really be that way because we need visual contact with Dungeon Master. Well, when Dungeon Master gets back, he's probably going to set a few changes, but I'm just going to let things lack easy right now and go with whatever these radio hosts say to do, because
We're not on a podcast. We're recording some other kind of way. We can't really give away how we're recording this, but we're recording this, and it's a bootleg. And the mirror lamp sees all the bootlegs out the window, and even books. And I mean, I could get you some books on this show that would make you flip out, just like Legend of Zelda is. But we love Legend of Zelda. We play it all the time. We play it all the time. This level, especially. That's why I think it's cool to do the beginning through the beginning on this, like the beginning of it, so you just get a teaser trailer what the first hour is like, you know? Not that we're going for that, because, you know, the Giants, they'd go for an hour whenever it took them a turn to get through to the theater crowd, and they would, even if it cost them to arrest this video in some way, but not my video, though, because this is permitted bootlegging. It's like not censored by the YouTube Masterclass. And that's why we take into consideration these volumes of imagery on a game that we'll never forget, in the middle of a game that we'll never remember, which is Dungeon Master. Dungeon Master! How did you like my impression of the owner of the place? Very scary when you're on the side of who's going where and what. Oh, what is the second half? Are we still in the first dungeon? Oh, you're only one dungeon in 100. Oh, 100 dungeons. Well, let's hear it for dungeon 100. Because boss battle. Gotham. Okay. You can't get a level up here, but you need to beat this boss. Now, if you go over here and swing at him there, you almost got him beat. But you've got to get him right in the weak spot, or he never gets hurt. He's a big lad, isn't he? He kind of looks like the spider monkey. I don't know why he's crawling upside down. Let's see if we can keep up with this Star Wars-looking creature. He looks like Count Grievous. There are now 18 minutes of Dungeon Master left. Oh, just in this episode. I don't know. What do you say we make some long ones and some short ones? They're telling me to elongate it. I gotta go on. Oh, I was planning on going on. So, Dungeon Master? Yes, I'm back. I was actually back a while ago. Hang on. Putting on my glasses. It says here that the rerouter of the signal will take you to the stairway to heaven through the light beam and place you down on Mount Olympus. Link there. Here we go. In progress. Thou hast demonstrated thy courage. Thou, we beat the tree levels done. Well, isn't that a blast? How did you come to know that the tree level was done? I bet you were wondering what in the world had anything to do with the tree level. Tree, talk to me. If we're gonna have a talk tree, let's have a talk tree today, tree. And there goes the horseback. And Espa has come out as a book and is sold upon the Disney Terry Jones, Wizards of the Coast, and RealFairies.net labels. And I'm just pressing for this book because it's like a role-playing game in and of itself, and it's about fairies, pixies, and sprites. And I think you'll like it. We're pressing all the books we can of our own, just because that's what we're meant to do, is press our own books. And I think a lot of gift collectors will find this a good gift. And now we're flying through the universe seeking for any truth of that meaning, and coming on a verification that, what? We only have, oh no, we've got way more than 6 minutes left. That's 16 minutes. No, they're literally giving us 16 more minutes. They said they could go on from that. They said that to be like chaotic and go further into the program than you're at. But see, going into the program you're at only creates one constipation. What are you demonstrating that's different than the program? And that is because this is the optimal way to play the game. But it is really giving us choice moments like rocks run through the sky with lightning flashing on them. And above the cylinders we go, and into the squire of darkened times. There was a dream that danced around. Oh, it's daytime. Never mind. Hang on. I've got to look for what I did with that second part of all this. Isn't there a second part? We're not even barely past the beginning of the first part. And we're not supposed to be, but that we're chasing a race is really cool, and this is a cool little technique
that are big technique. It's not a little. There are no techniques that are little. They are all big techniques, I have decided to say. That's the Triforce, man. You can check out the Triforce. The Dooku tree, we already went in there and kicked ass and taken names. Kicking ass and taking names. Well, okay, that was a long-awaited journey into pictures and sounds merging for the most beautiful reasons. But I cannot even in jest say that these are all technically amazingly crafted games, books, movies, and music. It's so amazing in and of itself that recontextualization in a medium like this show has only brought a design of the Grand Dungeon so long that all the dungeons are connected. But that they're all connected means they've all given permission, so please, if we make your game popular, we don't expect anything in return. We're freelancing it, yes. Alright, so, now that we've got, I don't know, roughly 16 minutes left, or 15 minutes. Oh, commercial. This is why I was thinking we should, go in only after the counter reaches 40 minutes. Yeah, I was gonna see if we could do a 40-minute Dungeon Master 100. Okay, stay with me on that idea, because there are other Dungeon Masters requesting a full hour, and I have just basically turned the corner on a half hour, and this is a powerful, but yet an intricate Dungeon Master that has all these beautiful commercials. But then it goes back to the cartoon, and we're ready for it. Is of no disgrace of our own. Here we lie ponderance on the being of time and international rational basis of the spliced in intercept of moral codes that mean nothing in the balance of each other as words and definitions are perspectives of reality that are distorted by our own perception in every sense of the word, and that we're flashing some kind of badge at you, saying that you have to come with us on this dungeon, but it ain't over till it's over. I mean, we've come far already in this, from the beginning, don't you think? In just a small amount of time, but then it's a long amount of time in some scheme of things. Is my concern only to theorize at some point about how it's possible that all these dungeons are connected. The Lost Woods. Alright, this is where I knew I would get into more trouble. But I fell out of trouble immediately. I totally staved it off as not happening. Here's to the guys that wanted me to go the extra mile. Here's looking to the guys, because if I take it 40 minutes, then I can count it as a feature film. And if I leave it at 30 minutes, it's like bidding as a short film. And those are big bids, too, on short films. Some of my favorite movies were short films. But the eclipse in the background that is forcing me to ring eternal unto magic, exploitation, and philosophy, and the courage to move forward in these wonder signs of wonder kinds of new imagination that would somehow bring the possible philosophies of what happens after depth is approached and what goes beyond depth in perception of reality. Doesn't have to be close to you to be proven true. Can it be far away to be proven false? No one knows the answers to those, but that's the Ocarina of Time. You received the fairy Ocarina. This is the Ocarina of Time. See the Ocarina? Now, I hope you don't notice, but it's been the battle of a century to get to this point. of a dungeon master, and all of his doings, and all of his sayings. And this is Hyrule, and we're going to have a little adventure. Never mind what I was going to say. Let's check this out. Alright, we're going for the distance here. I'm going in a time of need. There's a bird I need to talk to. Hey, old bird, can I talk to you for a minute? They are talking. You will see Hyrule Castle. There's a princess there, says the owl, scowling at Link with his all-access omniscience and omnipotence and omnipresence that he is of an owl. And owls are all those things, don't you agree? We need to go to Audioland if we're to experience the interplay in what I call the reserve faction of what is needed only in a round of par 4s that are turning into par 1. I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want to let anyone down, but somehow I don't think I really am by finding a possible point to go on with this message of that Audioland must be sought to change the mood. But it is a little blaring, but we do love this Mozart of its very own self. And what it is for a purpose is really treating me good, and I don't think I could just go get up to Audioland and have the temptation to recommend the Institute of the volume level. And if you're getting it loud at your house, that's only because we get it loud here, and now we've got commercials right when he goes in. This commercial's kind of weird because there's dentists in it, man, and usually that's not used for funny, but it's alright. We can use subversive images in our commercials. No, I'm kidding. These guys are cool. They're not doing anything subversive. They're just trying to sell their product, dude. They're just making jokes, man. Making jokes. Commercial joke. Alright. Back to the cartoon.
Back to the Legend of Zelda Dungeon Master, which we've had many of those, even Ocarina of Time worthy ones. If situational memory can recall for it all. And this scene itself may have been in a Dungeon Master. We cannot remember to these own effects of quality and perforation. And it does sound kind of sitcomming with me to chillax upon the idea of a short featurette, and call it the link to a Dungeon, Part 2. Link to a Dungeon, that could be what this Dungeon Master needs, is Dungeon Master 100, a link to a dungeon written on it. And you will not know that I will take upon my chance to get as far through this page as I can. But if I take the interest of the other party, will still survive in the market. And that's why I ran into someone I knew in the market and had to stay and talk. And all these words were floating above my head that were what I was saying, and it was at such a fast pace that I had to move on and go see what I could figure out visually just by moving around. And there's always space to move around in Dungeon Master. Backward, forward, side to side, east, west, north, south. There's always ways to move. 360 degrees of visual field, of character movement, and of objectives around you moving. And if you don't think there's 360 degrees, that's only because we're standing on a gravity ground. Gravity is making us stand on the ground. Gravity is making us stand on the ground. I like to stand in the place where... No, I don't want to say it. I'm not very good at vegetable oil being hedged on my potatoes for singing that song. That's not what we want in Twisted Solomonot, which was about to be a ratchet-patat on the Rangabagang in the Rufus up here. And I think I just did something to make people disappear. But that's okay. It was all taken as a way through the Hyrule Castle Gate. We're going to Hyrule. Yeah, no, don't sing it either. I know you guys really don't want vinegar in your slogans. The weird egg. I knew I could do something with the weird egg. Now, if I got the weird egg and that's how I beat the game, don't blame me, but probably won't be. Dungeon Master's 12 episodes away. Hell, we'll even forget about this one if it's an ancient one.
This one will be ancient by the time the ancients have spoken at the end of a Dungeon Master 112, which I say, reserve your seating now, because everyone's going to see it. And it'll be Farewell Dungeon Master, and everyone's still on level 70 that's been playing since the beginning, and no one knows how I got past them to build the dungeons apart from them, except the few people that see us now, which is a lot. That a lot of people see this, I don't really mind in saying, well, this is Dungeon Master, this was what it is. I mean, it's just the concept of it is you go level to level, seeking weapons, items, in inventory, based on hit points and spell points. You use magic and fight attacks and strategic battles against monsters and other things. And you collect coins and rupees, they're called in this, and you go through castles and you see through fears. You see through fears. And you take the challenge of solving the puzzles. And it's a really positive release, not just for me, but for all of my friends that have a place they need to call home. And home can be a distraction on the wilder of the week that takes a chance for you to be the Mario guy on the bridge and still get the right puzzles solved, because that was really not what happened when I was playing. I didn't get the same interactivity from my team of Network Super Champions that have now come back to be more constant than the believer in purposeful mounts of holiday quickness that was once more inquisitive into the times of regret, and regret was never found to deliver, and deliver was never found to joy. Commercial. This is funny. Hey, check this out. This is funny. I'm serious. Well, the commercial's not serious, but it kind of is. Only pay for what you need, Liberty. Hey, we got closed captions here too. There's a lot of commercials. I hope they know we love them. Let's watch this one. We're not skipping this commercial. We need to see it. It's of a movie and it looks beautiful. That Christopher Rock is in it. He's already a jammin'. How are they making this movie? Wow, this looks really spectacular. Doctor Who, huh? Well, that show's the longest going show. Disney, eh? Well, Disney loves all. If Disney would be behind this commercial campaign of a Dungeon Master. And I think, though this be sudden, I sit among the chances of reason, as though I've shown you what I could of the beginning and intro and on to the early portions of this dungeon. And this dungeon may seem to contextually get the piece of history. And while they're even debating in the control room now whether we can handle more Dungeon Master, or where shall we take this as a full feature, and then we cut off the next. No, there's 12 more Dungeon Masters, you guys. It's not going to matter. We're getting this one on the air because so far we've got to have interface with the computer, and we need to check it before we count into some more territories with what could be done with just another 10 minutes. And I'm sorry, this has reached a level of taxonomy that is almost too beyond compare. And we almost can't push it through the values of the system in the market, in the square, where the daylight was a balance with the light of all the air.
With the courage of the fashion all simply just to dare, it seemed tomorrow wasn't even quite right there.